going from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Monday, the 16th day of June 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi, and this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. It's always a pleasure to be coming to you in your homes, in your garden, in your car, wherever you are this morning as you get yourself ready for work, for school, or whatever you have planned for the day. It's always a privilege to be a part of your morning, to share with you as you sip on your coffee, probably in the garden this morning. Whatever you are doing, we count it a privilege and an honor. In fact, it is because of you why we are number one, and we hope to remain number one because of you. We have a lovely program lined up for you this morning, and we do hope that you could stay with us as we go through the conversations that we need to have in our local spaces, conversations that impact communities and societies and us as men and women here in Trinidad and Tobago. And I do hope that you can leave your contribution as well, be a part of the conversation. But before I get into all of that, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
Here, Diana, here is your news in 90 seconds for Monday, June 16th, 2025. In a major policy shift, the government has officially repealed the TTRA Act with support from 27 MPs, including Tobago East MP David Thomas. Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar called the act a political tool and a PNM party group, warning of its intrusion powers. Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur said the repeal allows for reinvestment in the BIR and the customs. Up next, despite recent calls to scrap the demerit points, Transport Minister Eli Zakur confirmed the demerit points policy remains in effect unless overturned by Parliament. Zakur clarified that only a negative resolution in Parliament can nullify the system. This comes after Prime Minister Kamala Persad-Bissessar questions the system's effectiveness in reducing traffic accidents, citing a lack of evidence. Meanwhile, Zakur also outlined plans to modernize transport services and strengthen traffic enforcement. And finally, with momentum building, organizers of the 2025 Tobago Carnival are aiming for a 30% rise in participation over last year. According to Dexter Sandy, president of the Tobago October Carnival Association, several bands have already launched with more on the way. While local promotion is strong, Sandy says more national and international marketing is needed to attract both Trinidadians and overseas visitors. Costume interest is growing and overseas inquiries are promising. The focus this year is on boosting participation with bands and cultural events rather than increasing number of bands. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Bianna, for our news there in 90 seconds. And, coming out of your news there, we had discussions right here about the demerit points.
Yes.
And it is the demerit point system, rather. And it is still a conversation. And now we're hearing that it remains until. So that means the possibility still exists that it can be, disbanded. And where, I also heard that they're talking about upgrades to the transportation system and stricter traffic policies being implemented. Now, I'm okay with the fact that if there are alternatives, what is the alternative? What is going to make for better policies in terms of our drivers and road users being more responsible on our nation's roads and being held accountable for reckless use of our nation's roads. So if the demerit point stays, I really appreciate it. If it goes, I'd like to hear what is going to be put in place in terms of ensuring we can manage the system. And why are we a lawless society? Why? Why are we lawless, and why do we need to be told what to do when we know what the right thing is? Sometimes it's very, very confusing, Bianna.
Yes, it is very confusing, but I believe, leaving that demerit points, it will help curb, the road accidents. Because after the talk of it being wanting to remove, you see a lot of you know, accidents were taking place. Not in our part of the woods, but in Trinidad.
Because people started to get relaxed and they're
Yes.
thinking, oh, well, you know, I can't be apprehended or I can't be held accountable because they're going to remove it anyway. And the report also said that there isn't enough evidence, but you can see, you actually saw where people were a bit more cautious. Well, at least in the Tobago space. You know, I've heard a lot of people saying, you know, I don't want my license to be taken away from me. So they were a bit more cautious.
Yes.
And I'm hoping that that can remain, and that people can have that level of consciousness in terms of being responsible on our nation's roads.
Yes, yes.
Bianna, we just came out of Father's Day weekend and so many things happening on the island. What was your weekend like?
A bit of church and more relaxation. We had a little celebration in the street yesterday for the men. But other than that, it was more of a relaxed one for me.
All right. And of course, we have to celebrate our men. We have to celebrate them. So that celebration was well welcomed for all of them.
Yes,
all right, Bianna, thank you so much for being on set with me this morning. Do have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Same to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And of course, we here at Tobago Updates Television, we love a good celebration. So this morning we start with saying happy birthday to Mr. Karen Thomas. Karen Thomas is celebrating a birthday today, and we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful, amazing birthday today. So happy birthday to you, and God bless. David Maraj, do you know this guy? Do you know him at all? This is the owner of Barcode Tobago, the iconic spot. He's celebrating a birthday, and we say happy birthday to you with beer in hand, of course. Happy birthday. We pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful and amazing birthday today. Happy birthday, David. Patrick Shepard, he celebrated a birthday. It's a belated birthday greeting to him. So we say happy belated birthday, and we do pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful birthday today. Well, when you celebrate it, I hope you have a wonderful birthday season, rather. So happy belated birthday to you. This is another face you might know, you just might know who he is. This is Kevin McKenna, and he also is celebrating a birthday today, and we say happy birthday to you. We obviously we declare God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have a wonderful birthday today. We pray that as you enter into this new season and this new chapter, that you continue to walk in purpose and do that which you were called to do. So happy birthday to you as well. Happy birthday to Philbert Hislop, celebrating 80 years. Can you imagine 80 years of life? Happy birthday is coming out to you from your wife, Anne Hislop, your sons, Curden and Karen Hislop, your grandchildren, Denzel, Janaya, Zayn, and Asaya Hislop, the entire Hislop family, and everybody who loves you. In fact, the Sandy River SDA Church, everybody is saying happy birthday to you, Philbert Hislop. Even I, Adana Kambi, I'm saying happy birthday to you, and I do hope that you have a wonderful birthday today, and we continue to pray God's blessings upon your life, and we do hope that you have an amazing birthday season. So happy birthday to you. We're also celebrating an anniversary. Yes, we're celebrating an anniversary today. Happy anniversary goes out to Bishop Terrence Baines and his lovely wife. We say happy, Jenny Baines, we say happy anniversary to you guys. We pray God's blessings on your union, that you may have many more years of marital bliss, and that you continue to be the beautiful people that you are, and that the celebration continues for eternity. So happy anniversary to you guys. And of course, even if you are celebrating and we don't have your photographs, we still join in the celebration with you. And we want to remind you to put God first. And talking about celebrations, I had the opportunity yesterday to be at a Father's Day event. I was the MC there, and of course, the men had an amazing, wonderful time. It was held at the THTI auditorium there, and those gentlemen, I'm telling you, they had a wonderful time. This event was hosted by the Batiste sisters, and the men came out in their numbers. They had games and activities. There was so much going on in that space, and they had an amazing time. So shout out to them. The event was called Dear Daddy, and it was a really amazing time. All right, so It's Monday, so you're wondering who are we having conversations with this morning. And we start off the conversation by speaking with Sergeant Wendy Clark, Administrative Sergeant at the Roxborough Police Station. And this morning we're going to be talking about abuse of the elderly, which is something we really need to have discussions about, and how we can support our elderly relatives here in Trinidad, in Tobago primarily. Then we have a conversation with Mr. Rundle Fields. You might know that name. Rundle Fields is a president of the Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago. And we also speak with Dr. Joan Bob Ward. She is an educator. And this morning, a very, very important conversation talking about dismantling double standards in male-female narratives. So many times we see situations and you're thinking, if it was reversed, would it be the same? So we're going to be having that conversation this morning in 2 segments. Remember, you can be a part of our conversation. You can join our Facebook live stream or our YouTube channel at Tobago Updates. Leave your comments there. Let us know that you are here with us, that you are part of the conversation. Ask the questions you want to ask to get the answers that you hope to get from these conversations. We want to know what you think, what you feel, and how you would like to address situations that happen in and around you here on the island of Tobago, or even Trinidad and Tobago for that matter. And you know, of course, those of you who are viewing right here in Tobago, in Trinidad, the Caribbean region, the United States of America, Canada, England, all of Europe, Asia, Africa, Australia, wherever you are this morning, you know, we say a special thank you so much for choosing us and making us #1 here in Tobago. And for all our viewers online, oh gosh, we appreciate you so very much. Without you, we could not be who we are. And we want you to stay with us throughout the entire programming this morning as we have the conversations. And as you stay, we ask you to tell your friends, tell your neighbors, and help us to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl, we get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Harblow Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sana, it's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Hey goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Tobago. This Labor Day, June 19th, API Music and Timeless Vibes Promotions kicks off Tobago Jazz Music and Golf Weekend 2025 with Plymouth Love, featuring Jazz at Dawn, 6:30 a.m. till noon, with Franz Job, Prince Unique, and much more. Then kicking it old school, 6 p.m. to midnight, featuring Oscar B, Andrea J. Donowa, Joe Archer, and a very special guest, K. Alan Maloney, all at Plymouth Tennis Court Car Park. This entire celebration is in support of K's medical expenses. Just $200 per event, or experience both events for only $300. Tickets are available at Barcode, Nandes Bar, and Island E-Tickets. Events supported by Frankie Tours, Bermuda's Biscuits, Tobago Updates, Street 91.9, Radio Toco, Stone Tower Studio, Eye Design, and Click. Plymouth Love, one community, sunrise to sunset.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. It's Monday morning, so we're going to be talking to the TTPS, yes, and this morning we have Sergeant Wendy Clark. She's the Administrative Sergeant at the Roxborough Police Station, and we're going to be having a different type of conversation this morning, a conversation we need to have, and it's talking about abuse of the elderly, something we've noticed in the recent past in the Tobago space, and we want to be able to stand in the gap for our elderly. Good morning, Sergeant, and welcome.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning to the viewers.
Right, a pleasure. You know, it's always a pleasure having a representative of the TTPS in studio with us as we have the conversations and we talk about things happening in our local space. But before we get into that conversation, we have a new top cup, and of course, I want to say congratulations to Trinidad and Tobago, and of course to the TTPS. All right, so congratulations there, and I do hope that as the transition takes place, that you know, things, the policies that need to be implemented will be implemented, and the governance of policing in Trinidad and Tobago will improve, because primarily that is what the aim is, to ensure that we have a handle on crime and we can manage society, because people need to be managed, right? But a burning question I always wanted to find out is in terms of the selection of a cop. What is the process? How does one become the Commissioner of Police?
To become the Commissioner of Police, you must have at least 10 years service. You must have a degree and a background in behavioral science and management. And you apply. You know, there's an application and you apply, and the process starts from there.
Right, and it goes to the Police Service Commission.
Through the Police Service Commission, who will then do what they have to do, and then they create a merit list, and then they will send that merit list to the President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, who will then send that information to the Parliament.
All right. Seems very transparent enough for now. Of course, we want to get some more details, but when the time comes, of course, we will do. We'll have more conversations about that. But we're here for a specific reason this morning, and we're talking about abuse of the elderly, and it's very, very interesting that we're having this conversation because I remember as a child growing up, communities were strong.
Yeah.
Children used to stay by their grandparents for vacation time, so there was always somebody there. The aunties might live in the home as well, and the family unit was stronger. There was a strong bond. Now you see grandparents are younger. So some of them going off to work and they're leaving. So now you have the great-grandparents by themselves because the grandparents still working and they still do what they have to do. And they're left home alone or to do what they have to do. So in terms of abuse of the elderly and taking care of them, what is the position of the TTPS in terms of the observations and the things that they'd like to put in place in terms of assessment and protection for the elderly?
Okay, well, as you said, the grandparents are a bit younger, right? We tend to, the elderly is from 60 up. Most 60-year-olds are vibrant people. However, the older ones, we tend to ask them, persons who take care of them, their caregivers, their loved ones, their friends, to pay attention to them, to see what needs they have, and to meet that need for them.
And sometimes in some cases where some homes, sometimes you have carers coming into your home. Like you might be able to hire somebody to come and take care of the granny or the great-grandparents who might be home alone during the day. Or some people might put them in a care home because they might not be able to have that facility where somebody could come into the home. And the care home might have better care systems set up. And I know sometimes we've had reports about people being abused, not taken care of, whether it's their personal items, their person. You see where people are being mistreated in facilities or even when somebody comes into the home. And what are some of the measures that you can put in place to ensure, one, that you select the right person to come into your home or you select the right care facility to send your loved one to for their personal care?
I think they need to do a lot of background checks, do a lot of referrals, to see if that home or that person is right for that individual. Because each person have a different personality, right? And from time to time, it depends on the stage of where this elderly person may be at, in their age. And once you do a background check and you're satisfied, that this person is a right fit for your elderly parent or elderly loved one, I think you should have no real issue with that.
For some elderly persons who there might be some measure of abuse, whether it's from their care or if they go to a home, and they are unable to verbally articulate that they have been abused. How does the loved one, how does the relative now deal with a situation, or how is a report made if there's no communication in terms of, listen, I don't feel comfortable, because they can't communicate it in the way they can? Is there any intervention from the TTPS? Let's say, for instance, you might go into homes on occasion to see the operations. How does that work?
Well, to see the operations of an elderly home or care facility, that is mainly falls under the Division of Social Services. However, if there are any signs of abuse, right, they may not be able to tell you, verbally, articulate that, but they will see that in their behavior. You make observation and you make a report to the police relative to what you have observed, and then the police will most likely start their investigation and we proceed from there. And we would also try to seek the intervention of the Social Welfare Department, who would come in, to assess that person, to ensure that, to see what other, to get what is really, how should I put it? To see the depth, or to get in depth, more information as to what is happening in that home.
And you know, there are some elderly persons who are, you mentioned before, elderly starts at 60. So some of them are they still have their independence. There is no need for a carer in the home, or they don't have to go to a facility because they're able-bodied. And they run their errands on their own. They go to the supermarket. They do what they have to do. But they are also very vulnerable. As able-bodied as they are still very vulnerable. And they can be a target for persons who want to perpetrate crimes, pickpocketing, or they go to the supermarket. Somebody might take advantage of them. How do you advise or recommend to the relatives of this person in terms of assisting them with ensuring they have a measure of security when they go out?
They can accompany them. They can have someone accompany them. They can take them to whatever appointment they have, you know, so that they can feel a sense of security, a sense of personal safety. And you try as much as possible to make that person feel comfortable so that you're not taking away their independence. You know, it's just there in the event, you know, that you could be a shoulder, you know, to be a form of personal security for them.
And in terms of the Tobago space, I'm not sure if you have the statistics or if you're able to speak on it. What is the feedback or the assessment in terms of our elderly persons becoming victims of, even if it's a petty crime, a small abuse is abuse. What kind of numbers or statistics do you have in terms of our older persons?
I do not have those numbers at hand. However, there have not been many reports with respect to the abuse of elderly persons within the Tobago space. You may have heard about, you know, persons who would have gone to the bank for their pension and these things, and there are persons outside, you know, persons who they believe they can trust, and, you know, they're swindled out of their monies and these things. But there's not much, you don't have much reports of that nature within the Tobago space.
And you know, Tobago is such a small and community-based kind of island where everybody knows everybody, basically. You can tell if the grandson trying to go to the bank with, as you mentioned, go to the bank with granny, and when she comes outside, you have to put some in my pocket. And even if that isn't reported because the grandparent or the elderly person might not be willing to report it, or might be afraid, or just doesn't want to cause any, you know, anything in the home, so they don't report it. If somebody knows, let's say the neighbor is aware of what happens, the grandchild, if this person takes advantage of me, whatever, and they report it, is the TTPS coming in, or social services or whomever would come into the home to do an assessment? How does that part work? Because remember, this wasn't reported by the person who is being abused. So how does that part work?
But a report could be made on behalf of someone. Right, and once a report is made, the police must investigate to see what they need, what is taking place, to confirm that something of this nature is happening, and we proceed from there.
All right, good. And you know, I just want to, any other information you want to share with our viewers for them to understand the importance, one, of the elderly in society, because as I mentioned in the beginning, we used to be community-based. We used to be, the children would be with the grandparents during the entire vacation period. They would be there. They would hand down stories to them. They would learn things. I remember my grandmother used to make candy. She used to make candy. She used to make butter. She used to make mayonnaise, pepper sauce, and all these things I saw in her house when, you know, growing up. And I don't know if that still remains. And I want to address that situation in terms of how do we come back to that place where we regard the elderly in society and we give them the honor that they deserve while they are still here.
That, I think, well, we haven't moved away from that so much in Tobago, all right? We just have to encourage the adult children of these older folks, you know, to be mindful of what is happening, to encourage them to, you know, be a part of their children or their grandchildren, to be a part of their life. And once you can have them, the grandchildren, you know, stay with them for a few hours, you know, to just give them that sense of that they're still there, they are still needed. You know, you have to give them that kind of reassurance that they're still needed, even though they may be elderly, their presence is still welcome within the home.
That's right. That's absolutely right. And you know, in closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers this morning?
I just want to say, the elderly, they have paved the way for us. They have been there, our parents, they look after us. Now is the time for us to pay attention to them, to give them that dignity that they need. And we try to be as a better society, you know, when we take our, when we regard our elderly, you know.
That's right. Because I remember a long time, a boof from your granny is a proper boof, you know. Yes. When your granny corrects you, it's a proper correction. So I totally agree with you. And, you know, for our viewers out there, let us continue to maintain the connection with the older generation and the younger ones, because we see what is happening in society, and that is because that gap is there's a gap there, and we need to fill back that gap. We need to ensure that we remain connected. And I know that we are busy and we don't have the time, but let's make the time to ensure that the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren are still connected to the elderly, so that they can feel that they're still used and there is still benefit coming from them, and that the younger ones can learn something of value. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Sergeant Wendy Clark, Administrative Sergeant at the Roxborough Police Station, and we were talking about how do we care for our elderly and how do we ensure that we reduce the risk of abuse. Yes. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations, and as we go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Tobago. This Labor Day, June 19th, API Music and Timeless Vibes Promotions kicks off Tobago Jazz Music and Golf Weekend 2025 with Plymouth Love, featuring Jazz at Dawn, 6:30 a.m. till noon, with Franz Job, Prince Unique, and much more. Then kicking it old school, 6 p.m. to midnight, featuring Oscar B, Andrea J. Donowa, Joe Archer, and a very special guest, K. Alan Maloney. All at Plymouth Tennis Court Car Park. This entire celebration is in support of K's medical expenses. Just $200 per event, or experience both events for only $300. Tickets are available at Barcode, Nalandes Bar, and Island E-Tickets. Events supported by Frankie Tours, Bermuda's Biscuits, Tobago Updates, Street 91.9, Radio Toco, Stone Tower Studio, Eye for Design, and Click. Plymouth Love. One community, sunrise to sunset.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high quality innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I cousin Tufina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products. It's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Right now I overeating. Wet me down. 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. I am Adana Kambi. Thank you so much for staying with us. We begin this segment with the photo of the day. The photo of the day, can you guess where in Tobago this photo was taken? This photo was sent in by Lawrence James. Lawrence James, we say thank you for this photo. And of course, our viewers, you are invited to figure out where in Tobago was this taken. And of course, we will reveal it at the end of the show, so stay tuned. All right, so this conversation this morning, we head on over to speaking with Mr. Rondell Fields. He is the president of the Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dr. Joan Bob Ward. She is an educator. This morning, we're speaking on the topic, dismantling double standards in the male-female narrative. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having us, Salana.
All right. It's a pleasure having you guys on the program this morning to speak on a very, very important topic, especially coming out of celebrating fathers. We had Father's Day celebrations yesterday. And so, of course, again, we say happy Father's Day to all our fathers, far and near. And we have a very, very important conversation we must have, because we realize in spaces that women are really acknowledged for all the glorious things that they do. And of course, they must be given their due. But what about our men? They too are pillars of society, and sometimes they go unnoticed because perhaps we think, well, they are a man and they're supposed to do that anyway. But we also need to have the conversations that address the things that do not go right for both men and women. But this morning we want to focus on men. And as the topic says, dismantling the narrative, the double standard in the narrative in men-women conversations. And you know, Dr. Bob and Rondell, I don't know, our viewers must know that we're a part of a team pressing towards ensuring, especially in the regional space, that men are recognized for their contribution to society and, of course, addressing issues that are important to men. So good morning again and welcome to the conversation as we head on over. Just give us a little bit in terms of how the three of us kind of are in this space this morning to have this conversation.
Yeah, Adana. Well, as you rightfully said, we are a part of a planning group when it comes to International Men's Day. But it's something that I have noticed for a while now, and particularly there was an ad that just reignited it that I stumbled across and shared with you guys in the group. And it's something that I have seen. I've always spoken about the value of the social narrative and how important ads and how important messaging is from particularly places like social media now that is just as popular as television and radio, having to send the right narrative out because this is how we sensitize our society. But it's been a while now that I've always noticed that there's always been a permissibility of ads aired where men suffer abuse. So the troubling thing about it, even more than looking at the ad, is the fact that when you look to the comment section or when you look to persons commenting on the ad, it's always comical. So you'd see an ad with a man in the video, his wife walk up to him, hit him and slap or buff him up. And to us, we would find it comical. And to me, I think it is damaging. But one thing I would say, or one reasoning I would still say that I am still grateful that I could see the ad, is that it actually demonstrates what takes place in the home and how we look at it in the home as well. It explains to us that a man suffering physical abuse, a man being a piece of soap or an object being thrown at a man, or a man being buffed or scolded or emasculated, is something that we, for some reason, have no issue when we see it. It's always downplayed, it's always belittled, it's always what we call a joke. But in the vice versa, I'd imagine if we saw an ad that shown that type of abuse toward a woman, we would have uproar, not only amongst women, but amongst men as well. And even from the very said video, you will not see comments of men standing and saying, this is right, this is not right, this is abusive. We are men, we have feelings too. We don't like to feel like this. We don't want anybody pelt anything at us. We don't want anybody walk up to us and slap us. We don't want anybody talk to us like if we're an animal or if we're any less significant in the family space. And that, as I said, is something that I have seen for years in advertisements, for years in public messaging. And this ad that we came across just kind of reignited the entire spark of what continues to happen in the social narrative space when it comes to advertisements on being pushed out in our public media networks.
And you know, we will show a clip of the ad in the conversation. But Dr. Bob, in terms of the comments, when you saw the video, what did you feel when you saw the comments that people were leaving on the video that was shown there? Because it really is troubling, and I really want our viewers to understand this morning what we're talking about. But how did you feel when you saw the comments coming out?
She muted.
All right, Dr. Bob, we're not hearing. Dr. Bob, we're having some issues with the audio on your side, so we'll try to fix that and come back to you. But in the meantime, we'll just run the video while we sort that out, so that our viewers can have, you know, first-hand information in terms of what we're talking about, so they can connect with the issue.
Ow! Ooh, Tally, what is soap?
What soap, Brandon?
The soap to wash the clothes, the powder soap.
Under the sink.
It's not under the sink. I just checked.
Brandon, if you make me get from here, and the soap under the sink, I tell you one out slap it.
I just checked it under the sink. I just checked.
The man just never know to find anything. Never know. Brandon, where's this?
I go wash the clothes for a week. Don't last one.
Just make a cup of soap and wash him. Wash him.
So that is the ad. That is the ad advertising a product that should be used in homes. Dr. Bob?
I think she's muted. She has to unmute, possibly.
Turn on your, if you can turn on your mic.
I hope you can hear
there
me
we
now.
go. There we go. We can hear you now. Yes.
Yes, I experienced a range of emotions. Initially, it was shock, and maybe I should not have been feeling that, because this is what happens. I was sad, I was angry, and I felt disappointed. Because we have been working hard. Rondell, Adana, and a number of us have been working hard, trying to fix this thing. And there, this comes up, and the comments were so disappointing. In fact, it was considered to be humor, and it is not humor. What we saw being demonstrated by that lady was disrespect, emasculation. We saw a man cowering and submitting to saying he would do the laundry for a week or so to avoid being beaten. We don't want this kind of men. We don't want these kinds of men. We are saying we want men to be men, yet we are emasculating them. And this is disappointing. And the fact that this was associated with a particular brand is also troubling. In fact, what I saw was not a brand, not the detergent, and I don't feel motivated to use it. What I feel motivated to do is to speak out against the double standards. As Rondell said, if this was the reverse, if we saw a man being abusive to a woman, the whole country would have been coming out against the man. We are not to encourage this in women. We are not to encourage it. It is not a joke. It is not a good example for society.
I totally agree with you, Dr. Bob. And you know, we are bringing up boys who we want to be men. You rightfully said that we as women, we look for strong men. We write a list. As a young girls growing up, you write a list of what you want this man to be, and you make up this perfect man in your mind. And nobody is perfect, even the woman who looking for this perfect man. And he will fall short. So would you. And so when he doesn't do what you want to do, you become what we saw in the video. You become disappointed, you become, and then so you know, I want to talk through the fact that we are raising young men who we want to be pillars in society, but they come from women who have this type of attitude towards men. How does that work in a society?
And that it doesn't work. That is exactly why we have all the chaos that we have today. And that's why I say the fact that you could feel comfortable to craft out of such a nature and it be seen as permissible to put out there by even the persons who own the brand should tell you the culture that we have. Little do you know as well, the man individual may have been co-author of it, because this is the way we've been cultured. A lot of boys were raised by single mothers also, and that is the behavior they saw. So that is normative for that type of a response towards a man. So some men are now being raised with the expectancy that this is normal, and it isn't. It just takes you to look at the other side of the pendulum. Had him been the one telling her, if you don't wash this clothes before the week done, and she cowering and saying, don't slap me again, there would be the feminists outside, there would be the most vocalists outside, there would be men in condemnation of this very video. And I mean, I don't like to take away from anybody's earnings. So what you really want to do, however, is to tell them that such a video needs to be recrafted. It, to me as a businessman, as Dr. Ward alluded to, it's not a good selling point in the first place. So I am surprised that a business owner would see that and say, hey, you know, this is funny, we could put that out there. It speaks to how we are cultured in our society, as into the things we see that are permissible. I will go back to the point, and this I haven't only highlighted this in the past when it was pertaining to men being abused. I also have highlighted ads that I saw. I remember a particular ad that I saw from a specific beverage company, alcoholic beverage company, where a young man and a group of men was sitting in a bar in the display, and he was talking about going to look for a engagement ring for his fiancée, meeting the jeweler, and then trying to say to be a man was for him to then be unfaithful to the person he went to get the ring with by the jeweler. And I condemn that so much that the alcoholic beverage changed the ad immediately and put slogans all over the highway representing of what a man should be, a better man should be, because I understood how dangerous a narrative that was for a young man to feel that to be a man was what meant for him to be participant in infidelity. So yet again, we are bringing up another topic again, where in this case, it is clear that this is a toxic, non-functional relationship being portrayed as normal, and people are totally desensitized to the fact and to the abuse that's taking place in the video. So much that we are commenting, we're having a comic, we're making comedy out of it, and we are not all bothered by it. And that to me is a very troubling thing.
And talking about not being bothered by it, Rondell, I know that you're an activist and you're very, very vocal where men's issues are concerned. In terms of corporates Trinidad and Tobago, the government of Trinidad and Tobago, and other agencies, have you seen anybody showing the measure of interest in terms of having conversations, consultations, implementing programs that will strengthen, first and foremost, the family units, empowering the man, and for people to understand what their roles are and how do we treat with and respect each other?
I mean, clearly not enough is being done. One of the challenges that you'd have there, being a past member of the Telecommunication Authority Board, I can tell you it is an ad on social media. So I don't even know. I think there's still the broadcasting code is still to be passed. I don't even know if the Telecommunication Authority or anybody really has the power to have it removed off of social media. That's one of the things. So the sitting government for certain needs to definitely look and strengthen the ambits within the Telecommunication Authority to make sure that if ads of such a nature are on social media, that it isn't protected because of a lack of a substantial broadcasting code. As I said, it's not to my knowledge since my demitting the directorship portfolio, what has taken place at that so far. But we need to be able, from a governmental stand, to make sure that not even on social media, these things must be allowed. You understand? On the other forefront, as you said, corporate must have a policy also that, hey, this can't stand in our brand. These things must not be displayed in our brand. So are you going to tell me, if you could promote an ad or have an ad with your company that promotes abuse, it means that you could have one that promotes sexual harassment. It means you could have one that promotes any other crime in this country. So you would expect that the company itself has some policy that will guide in the production of ads, that it puts its name behind. But even without a broadcast code, even without a policy directive from the company itself, we the people have a particular type of power. And that is a power of protest. And we have seen it flexed, as I said, many times this muscle has been flexed when it's been instance of men acting out of order. I have seen a mayor demit office because of that public persuasion. And my problem is, why is our society so desensitized that when we see abuse toward males who are boys just grown into men, that we are totally desensitized and there's no call for action, there's no protestant action at times when there should be.
Absolutely, absolutely. I really wish that more people could be a part of this conversation and to really have this sensitization as to the impact of the things that can follow, having a situation like this and being acceptable in our society. We're going to continue the conversation. We have to go for a short break, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, we continue speaking with Rundle Fields and Dr. Joan Bob Ward as we speak about dismantling the double standards in male-female narratives. We'll be right back right after this. But in the meantime, share the live, share the live, share the live.
Game is on. You don't want to miss the best moments. With AMPLIA TV, you can enjoy our ultimate sports package and watch your favorite games on the go. Stay connected and informed with sports news, scores, and stats with AMPLIA's fastest internet speeds. Up to 1 gigabyte fiber internet, you can stream riveting football action, cricket, NBA games, and much more. With AMPLIA, it's game on. Visit amplia.co.tt or call 800-4663. AMPLIA. Do more, live more.
saving up to go. Anything we not backing down, like a bomb we ready to explode. Ain't gonna wait until my back against the wall. Ain't gonna.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. We've been having conversations with Mr. Rundle Fields. He is the president of the Single Fathers Association of Trinidad and Tobago, and Dr. Joan Bob Ward. She's an educator. And the topic this morning is dismantling the double standards in male-female narratives. Welcome back to the program, Dr. Bob and Rundle. Before we went to the break, we were addressing some of the situations and the issues. And Dr. Bob, I want to ask you, I know in terms of being a part of the International Men's Day Planning Committee, you've been doing a lot of research in terms of men's issues and how governments have been treating with issues and how lenient have they been in terms of the requests that men will put in, for instance. And I know Rundle always tries to champion this in terms of getting paternity leave and, just dealing with the issues that men have. What has been the response or the outcome in terms of the region, because we're talking here about a cultural type of acceptance where we see these things happening. So what has been your data, your collection in terms of data for how people have been responding to men's issues and their needs and meeting them?
Okay, I do not have any hard data at this time. What I can give you is anecdotal evidence. The results are slow in coming. The change that we want to see is extremely slow in coming. Thankfully, Grenada was able to pick up this thing and to hold this conference in 2023, where we would say, there was some impact, and we see St. Kitts and Nevis is busy as well, Anguilla is busy as well. However, throughout the region, we need to see real change, and it is not coming. It's happening too slowly. So we need to redouble our efforts even as we plan towards the next International Men's Day celebration. And you see, what happens is that men are not recognized outside of International Men's Day, and they are barely recognized on Father's Day, and that's it. We're talking about dismantling the double standards. And if we truly have to do that, it means that our efforts must be year-round. And I want to talk a little bit about the video again, Adana, if you permit me.
Sure.
What I see there is not only a man being abused, but I see there a poor example of relationship interaction. So what we're seeing there is that people have been taught that the conversation between a woman and a man when you need help is one where the woman commands the man, orders him around, not even asking please, not even using the social words, the please and thank you that we were taught in preschool. Again, we see that there is something that would interfere with a man's desire to help in the home. Men help at home. I have that experience where my husband would help me with whatever needs to be done. However, if you have to shout at a man and threaten a man so that he could find the detergent so that the laundry could be done, he's going to put up some resistance. And we're teaching society that really helping in that way is not something that will come naturally to a man. And that's not true. It is something that we've taught society, and we need to erase it. We are also teaching that a man should be punished if he does not comply. All those things are really tearing away at our society. There are real men out there who want to help. There are men who want to assist. And we should allow them to do so. We have to be polite. Respect really breeds respect. When we disrespect a man, when we threaten him, when we try to make him feel embarrassed, and when we use it as humor, while we sit on a couch wrapped up in a coat and don't want to help, then there's a serious problem. We're teaching our society very negative things, and we're going to reap the whirlwind.
And I totally agree with you, Dr. Bob, because I am thinking As I mentioned earlier, we're bringing up young men. We're bringing up young men, and these are the things that we are showing them. And I know that there are homes where the man has the power and the authority to be a man as he should be. But when they see things like this on social media, then they kind of confused now. What side do I go to? Who do I listen to? What do I accept? How do I behave as a young man and as a man? And Rondell, I like the experience, the example you gave with the young man in the bar being influenced to go and cheat, because that's how to be a man, because that's what he's learning on the block. But the people on the block learned it some way. So this now, it calls for a cultural shift, a whole conversation, not just in this situation, but we have to look at it holistically. And that is why International Men's Day, the regional conference that we host, will address these types of cultural changes. We need to now come and ensure that we can change the mindset of people. And I think one of the things we need to do is go back to the home. And you know, for people to understand their roles between men and women. And something I always speak about on this program, whether we're talking about International Men's Day, International Women's Day, whatever we're talking about, I make this strong point that once a man understands his role and he's given the authority to be a man, everybody else's life is made easy. And this is something we don't understand. We are competing for roles when we should not be competing. So what we need to do is find a way, and I'm hoping that International Men's Day, Rondell, can kind of, you know, deal with that situation in terms of providing a platform for people to understand their roles. And, you know, I want you to talk a little bit about that as well, you know?
Yeah, I'm open so as well. And that's why it's so important. And that's why I like that we have the involvement of women in this planning of International Men's Day. And some of the topics are centered around women relating to men as well. It's critical, it's important, and that is why we actually had some women in the crowd as well. And that's why we want women to look at these conferences as well, because apart from also the way we are raising the man as into what he perceives when he sees this, we are raising the girls into women as well. And what she perceives is important as well. She must not subliminally be taught that it is right for her to behave in that manner. It is right for her to speak to another human being like that. And it is right for her to treat another human being like that. One specifically that you intend to cohabit with, have a family with, and then have children yourselves. So it is particularly important that these types of messages, when they go out in a safe and sanitized way. If we put the wrong message out there, how do we want to fix things socially and culturally if there's bad narrative out there? And we have to have safeguards to protect this negative narrative from coming out into the media space. We have to understand now that we have a social media space that may need marshalling as well. Because yes, some things may not be on the public airwaves where there's television and radio, but we can surely see that now social media advertising is possibly shooting out of it's gone out to the sky. So we have to be very particular and careful there as well, because you do not want to teach young girls that it is right to be abusive. It is right to not be compliant in a relationship where we could actually sit down and have a discussion. But I try to ask myself, what was the real need for such a depiction? And the only thing I could come up with is because they understand who created the ad, that this is what takes place in the home, and that people will say, hey, yeah, boy, look me, boy, look how mommy day. Or people will say, hey, boy, look me, that my girl day. Or, boy, I just really go through that. And because of that, it will make them feel like, all right, this is an everyday thing and an everyday product that is comfortable. But the thing is, it should make us uncomfortable. It should make us know that what's taking place on homes, if we're comfortable at looking at it like this, could be the thing that's actually leading up to domestic murders. Because he could take that, and that was my first message, you know. I said, one day, this particular man, at some point, may then become enraged, retaliate, and strike the woman in a real life scenario for people who live what is in that ad. And when he strikes her, or God forbid, it goes even further and it becomes a domestic murder. None or nobody or very few or little people know the backstory or know the abuse he endured before silently saying anything. That is a live depiction of what takes place sometimes. I'm not saying that it's always a depiction, but I am saying it is a percentage of the depiction. The depiction is a percentage of what really takes place in homes at times. I've heard these stories many times. I remember explicitly some years ago, a man we had to go and assist. The wife continuously abused him, continuously, and a day he picked up a rocking chair and he hit her head, and it broke her hand. And he get a protection order, and he get thrown out of the house, and he get back from his children for the one action he took part in after taking abuse for multiple years. So this type of messaging is dangerous because, as we said, it plants the wrong seed in the minds, particularly of the vulnerable, which are the young ones coming up. And it should not be entertained. And I think there should be a public outcry that, here what? Fine, you want to do your ads. We're not against young people and entrepreneurship. We support that. But there's a certain thing, and we must have a certain appetite for better than that. And that will encourage them to put out better than that, because we, the society, would have a better appetite and we would reject things that we know that are non-beneficial to our society at large.
Rondell, I like that. You know, we must have an appetite for better than that. And this is a call for all of Trinidad and Tobago, all of corporate, the government, all the agencies who have the influence, especially in social media spaces, because that's where people reside now. People live on social media. So we must have an appetite for better, because at the end of the day, we have the buying power. We have the purchasing power. We are the ones who can say this is good or this is not good. So let us improve our appetite as we see things popping up on social media. Let us be vocal. Let us open our mouths and speak to issues that we know can be detrimental to our societies in Trinidad and Tobago. Remember, I want to live in a space that is nice, beautiful, safe, calm. So do you. So do your children. And so, viewers, this morning we want to really emphasize the fact that it is very important that you let your voice be heard in situations like this, because all of us want to live in a safe space. Dr. Bob Ward and Rondell Fields, thank you guys so much for joining us this morning and being a part of this very important conversation. This conversation will not end here. We will continue having conversations like this, highlighting issues like this, and of course encouraging consultations and initiatives that can help to curb this type of behavior and improving our appetite. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at the end of the morning show, but before we go, we still have 2 birthdays that we almost forgot to mention this morning. So, of course, we want to say happy birthday to Mr. Denzel White. Denzel White, of course, is celebrating a birthday. Okay, before we go to Denzel White, my apologies. Okay, they sent for me here, Mr. Leroy Charles, aka Murphy of Culloden, is celebrating. Listen, guys, what are we doing here this morning? So we have Murphy and we also have Denzel White celebrating a birthday and Father's Day as well. And I want to say happy birthday, happy Father's Day. We love you. We love you very much and we appreciate you. And we do hope that you have a wonderful and amazing birthday. Okay, we're going to get it right now. This one is Murphy. He's known as Murphy from Culloden. His correct name is Leroy Charles. And it says, belated Father's Day and happy Earth Strong to you, thanking God for your life and strength, a devoted husband, father and son from your wife and your son Malik. Right, so that's happy Father's Day and happy birthday as well. And then Mr. Denzel White also celebrating his birthday. We say happy 75 years, happy birthday to you, and we say God bless you, God bless you, God bless you. And of course, before we leave today, we're going to reveal to you the photo of the day. Did you guess where the photo of the day was taken today? The photo of the day was submitted by Lawrence. Let me get the name, sorry. It's Lawrence James. Yes, Lawrence James submitted this photo. And it's Indian Bay. Indian Bay right here on the island of Tobago in Speyside. Beautiful, beautiful Speyside, the tourist village of Speyside. Yes, Indian Bay, submitted there by Lawrence James. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for being with us. This is where we have to end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT. And as we go, we invite you to help us share the live, share the live, share the live.
Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
As it pertains to the primary plenary, the training session is to just ensure that the students are aware of what the procedures of the sittings are. That is how they address the chair upon arrival, how it is that they address the chair when they leave, that they are familiar with the standing orders that they need to use, that they are aware of how the sitting flows from the time a motion is moved, from the time a motion is proposed, and from when the question is put and voted upon. But we just want to ensure and to make sure that they feel that the space is safe, that they could have a conversation about a very important topic that is there to Tobagonians, internal self-government for Tobago. And this experience would help them in time to come.
This year for them, they had the opportunity to speak with the Chief Secretary, so he was our subject matter expert. So they was able to ask him questions on autonomy, what they think his personal views are on some of those matters. And it was really enlightening for them. So they got to see what OCS looks like, the new Hocho Child's facility there, and so on. So we just edging them or easing them into the procedure. So
right now, my nerves have been calmed. I thought it would have been more nerve-wracking than this, and I'm relieved that it is like that.
It has been very, I would say, new, because I'm not accustomed to this, but I'm getting to know things about the house, and I really enjoy it at this point in time. I will have to pay attention, because when you listen, you will be able to interrupt just in case you realize something is wrong with the opposition.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor. Yeah. Hey. Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Let's go. It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor, to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power, we are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers, we are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host Chanel Felix, and you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. In a major policy shift, the government has officially repealed the TTRA Act, with support from 27 MPs, including Tobago East's MP David Thomas. Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar called the act a political tool and a PNM party group, warning of its intrusive powers. Finance Minister Devendranath Thakur said the repeal allows for reinvestment in the BIR and customs. Additionally, despite recent calls to scrap the demerit point system, Transport Minister Eli Zakor confirmed the merit points policy remains in effect until overturned by Parliament. Zakor clarified only a negative resolution in Parliament can nullify the system. This comes after Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar questioned the system's effectiveness in reducing traffic accidents, citing a lack of evidence. Meanwhile, Zakor also outlined plans to modernize transport services and strengthen traffic enforcement. And finally, with momentum building, organizers of the 2025 Tobago Carnival are aiming for a 30% rise in participation over last year. According to Dexter Sandy, president of the Tobago October Carnival Association, several bands have already launched, with more on the way. While local promotion is strong, Sandy says more national and international marketing is needed to attract both Trinidadians and overseas visitors. Costume interest is growing and overseas inquiries are promising. The focus this year is on boosting participation within bands and cultural events rather than increasing the number of bands. And that was our news in 90 seconds. This morning, I have the privilege of chatting virtually, that is, with Mrs. Angela Cooper, and she is the Public Affairs and Chairman of the Tobago Day celebration in New York. Good morning and welcome, Mrs. Cooper, and welcome to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, Tobago, Trinidad, the world, and I have to say good morning, team.
Right, excellent. And I mean, listen, it feels like just yesterday we were on here chatting about Tobago Day in New York. It's crazy how fast that comes back around, right? And we are here once more again. And Tobago Day celebrations in New York has been growing and it's getting bigger and better every year. So tell us a bit about where you are in that process, the dates, and what Tobago can truly look forward to what Tobagonians that is can look forward to as it pertains to participating in Tobago Day this year.
Oh, well, that's a big question. Tobago Day is on the 17th of August, which is Sunday the 17th. It's at 475 East 57th Street, and that is Nazareth parking lot. It's the school parking lot right there in Brooklyn. And what I think Tobagonians can look forward to is another festive and culturally sensitive event, just as they've been having for the previous years. It just keeps building and building and building, and they look forward to just networking and celebrating and connecting. So, I mean, we will be having lots of things for them this year, as I said before.
Excellent. And so, date and time, the time, and because we know a lot of persons who are already in the United States tend to travel from other states, other cities, just to come to be a part of that celebration. Give us the time.
The time, the gates open at 12 noon, Sunday, 17th August.
Excellent.
Yes.
And what about the persons that are in Tobago who are interested in coming? Who do they have to talk to? How do they get an official invitation? How do they become a part of the celebration and become embraced? Or do they just book a flight and walk in?
Yes, you can book the flight and walk in, but we also do vendors from Tobago, and the vendors, they are important part of Tobago Day, and they can contact, let me see, Caroline Wallace. She is the liaison on the ground for the vendors, or Georgina Peterkin. So I'll give you Caroline's number. It's 868-316-2413. We already have a slew of vendors lined up, and Georgina Peterkin is 868-355-5440. If they call any one of these ladies, they'll be able to walk them through the process and what they have to do. We also, you're saying other people, I'm thinking that you're guessing about performers. So we are working with Tobago right now to put that piece in place.
Excellent. So persons can also reach out to Caroline if they are interested in performing at the Tobago Day celebration.
Yes and no, because as I said, we are working with Tobago to put a contingent of performers together. Right? We don't want to overload the island now, so we have to, and I mean, it's only a few hours we have on the field. So once they're interested, they can reach out to Caroline, or they can call me directly on WhatsApp at 929-327-7857.
Excellent. And what can we expect this year that is different from the rest of years?
Well, this year we have, I'll tell you, last year we do have performers. We have the vendors also, but we will be paying tribute to the founding members of the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance mission. That's very, very important. We are also, surprise, we'll be doing a scholarship for this year's anniversary. And for a student, one scholarship. And there are other things that we have in the pipeline that I can't really discuss now because they'll come as a surprise to our patrons when they get there on August 17th.
Excellent. Can you give us some more information as it pertains to that scholarship? How can someone apply to that scholarship? What are the requirements for that scholarship?
Right. The information will be on our Facebook page this coming week, because that was the last piece. Someone volunteered to offer that scholarship, so we have to put that in place this week. So I'm excited about that piece.
Okay, and
so
what does that look like? Is that a local scholarship, an international scholarship?
No. It's for a person of Tobago lineage. So they have to tell us that their parents are from Tobago, and they would also have to probably write a short essay about why they think they deserve this scholarship, just something to help them. And they have to be in college for about 2 years, a sophomore. So it's not it's not a hard process, because community-based organizations normally do that in New York here. And I think, that it's a nice thing for us to jump in on that this year as we're celebrating.
Tobago
Excellent.
Day.
Is it that you're still ironing out the details as it pertains to that scholarship, or is
Yes,
it?
we are. Yes, we are. Because as
Okay.
I said, someone just recently brought it up and promised that they would come through with that. And I said, oh, excellent idea. We always add something to of value to Tobagonians.
Excellent. How important is the partnership with the Tobago House of Assembly as it pertains to the success of the Tobago Day celebrations?
I would say it's very, very important because I'm seeing team role as one of a formulation and bridging and maintaining that multiculturalism gap in New York whenever and wherever possible. When we see the vendors come up here, and at Tobago Day we have fellow diasporans who attend the event. We have investors, we have elected officials who come through because they want to see what Tobago has to offer. So I'm thinking that this will grow as time go on, and the collaboration will grow where other good things will come out of Tobago Day.
Excellent. And what type of investment is needed to help with that growth and that success? And how can persons get on board if they are interested in becoming a part of that and helping to grow that celebration?
Good question. Still in the works. Still in the works. We're still ironing out those things. Nothing is done overnight. So we have to take the lead wherever possible. And we're ready. Team is ready. We're here for engagement whenever that's possible. So we have to take our time with certain things. Don't rush it, because we want to make sure that when we do it, we have something that's solid.
Excellent. And again, you can give your contact number for the persons watching who are interested in contacting you, if they are interested because they are already in the US or they are in some other part of the world and they have a group of Tobago diasporans who are willing to partner with you, maybe to come over to Toronto to help them, build out their Tobago Day, or even just bring a contingent across. Give
They're
us your
doing
number
that.
one more time.
They're doing that. We have from Florida, we have from DC, we have from Canada. They're coming. In fact, we have a nice weekend also. I forget to mention this to you, that we're supposed to have a football game and an all-fours game this Saturday. We're building the not the entire weekend, but Saturday and Sunday. And the number is 929-327-7857.
Excellent, excellent. And are you encouraging Tobago? What are you encouraging Tobago businesses to do as it pertains to being able to benefit from this Tobago Day celebration?
Bring their product, showcase themselves, because that's what we can do at this moment with team, because it's a community-based organization which sustains itself. So we depend on funding and so forth, but we still want to give back. And this is part of our give back to all Tobagoans. And they love coming to New York and to showcase their products, which is really, really important. So that's what we're doing. That's what we're encouraging these vendors to do. We will also be having conversations with them as how they could go about or move about the space, advertising themselves not only at Tobago Day, but within the community.
Excellent. You said something, you touched a bit on investment. What role does the Tobago Day celebration play as it pertains to investment and the diaspora being able to invest in Tobago-based businesses and projects for the overall development of the island?
Well, I wouldn't go down that road right now, but we're seeing that once the products are here, and I said that's a conversation that I think has to go back. That investment piece has to go right back to our executive and to Tobago, because you don't want to jump the gun, and I don't want to say things that I know that you'll be held accountable for. So the investment is you showing up, showing out, and then we move it from there. We could take it one step at a time, because there's so many other things that that can be done to make sure that things are in place.
Right, but do you see possibly Invest TT desk there that can be beneficial, where persons that are part of the diaspora can see some of the projects that are happening locally and see if they are interested in supporting those projects, whether it be by offering their expertise, their skills, their mentorship, or financial support to help build out some of these projects. So even if it has to do with investing in a Tobago fund, do you see, that level of outreach happening in Tobago Day in the future?
Yeah, because we had I think we had Tadco last year. We have festivals. We had the October Carnival committee. They came up, they put up their booths, and people were quite interesting. I think T-Tal was there also. So I could see that happening, and people, they do ask their questions. They come around, the booths are there for their education and for them to understand what's going on in the Tobago space. We really sometimes don't understand how it really works, but we're trying to give them the resources that they can make decisions based on what they see and what they hear that day. It's only one day.
Excellent. And what about the persons who are interested in possibly acquiring a U.S. visa to come to the Tobago Day celebration? Is there any outreach or assistance that can be given from the committee specifically for businesses to allow them to come out and showcase at that Tobago Day celebration?
Visas where we can be a part of that piece. As I said, as a community-based development, I don't think that we are that entity. I mean, we could give advice as to, how you should go about doing it according to law. You have to follow their laws and their rules and their regulations, but there's nothing that we can possibly do, like call up the immigration and tell them that this person needs a visa. I don't think it works like that. So
I think last year when we had the conversation, I believe that the committee was giving letters to persons who were engaged as vendors for them to go to immigration to acquire those visas to participate in the event.
You're talking about those. Yes, you can invite them. You can just give them an invitation letter, but it's no promise that they will be given a visa. You understand?
Understood.
Yeah, that's a easy piece of it. But when you mention getting a visa, we know especially how the times are changing right now.
Understood. Understood. I just wanted to know if that type of assistance is still there for persons to get those letters if they are interested in getting visas to come and fend at the Tobago Day Festival. Now, is there anything that you want to say to the public before we wrap up our discussion this morning?
I just want the public to come out to celebrate with us, to meet their friends, because it's important that whatever we do in the Tobago space in New York is really a cultural expression of an extension of our island. So when an island brings the taste of that, it supports the diasporic contribution of social, cultural, and even economic development back home, the home country. It works for them. So one might say it's a big line. It's not. If we look deeper, we do have benefits for Tobago Day. It's just to come out there, and we're trying to get people together, Tobagonians together, as like other islands. So come out, share yourself, share your experience, have some fun, meet your people, exchange ideas, talk about things that can help Tobago somewhere along the line.
Excellent. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning. We want to thank you for coming to us here at Tobago Updates and making sure that we are invited to the Tobago Day celebration.
Yes, Chanel, I hope that you'll be here also.
Well, you never know. I might just show up.
That would be nice.
I might just show up. But again, we are wishing you all the success. We hope that a lot of Tobagonians reach out to you, reach out to the committee to be a part, especially as it pertains to vending and getting their products out there in the international market, and so that some Tobagonians abroad can get a taste of home. Guys, we want to thank you so much for sticking with us. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Let's go. a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand
Hello, New York. Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Tobago. This Labor Day, June 19th, API Music and Timeless Vibes Promotions kicks off Tobago Jazz Music and Golf Weekend 2025 with Plymouth Love, featuring Jazz at Dawn, 6:30 a.m. till noon, with Franz Job, Prince Unique, and much more. Then kicking it old school, 6 p.m. to midnight, featuring Oscar B, Andre J. Donowa, Joe Archer, and a very special guest, K. Alan Maloney, all at Plymouth Tennis Court Car Park. This entire celebration is in support of K's medical expenses. Just $200 per event, or experience both events for only $300. Tickets are available at Barcode, Nanandes Bar, and Island E-Tickets. Events supported by Frankie Tours, Bermuda's Biscuits, Tobago Updates, Street 91.9, Radio Toco, Stone Tower Studio, Eye for Design, and Click. Plymouth Love, one community, sunrise to sunset.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, cameras, dance, our 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Chopin Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirrorball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louie, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and Tobago correspondent. Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios. And Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show, dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford the 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Chopin Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago, guys. This morning we are heading over to another interesting topic. This morning we are talking about Girls of Impact. The mentee applications are now open. This morning we are chatting with Dr. Colin Young, who is virtual with us this morning, who is the Executive Director of Girls of Impact. Good morning, Dr. Young, and welcome. So this morning, the Girls of Impact program has to do with female-led leadership. And this morning, we will be chatting about that program and how you can get your daughters involved. The program is extended to women between the age of 18 to 30. And this has to do with leadership training, community service projects, personal and professional development workshops, certificates upon completion, small group mentorship, and this is going to be happening from the 5th of July to the 6th of September 2025. It's a 10-week program where young women will be engaged to help them develop themselves as it pertains to starting life as a career woman, being a leader, politics, decorum, diplomacy, and all the things that have to do with being a girl of impact. My producer will let me know as soon as I have a connection with Dr. Young so that we can continue our conversations this morning. But if you are interested, you can visit their pages or send them an email. You see the contact information at the bottom of the screen. You can reach out to them at Girls of Impact 868 on TikTok or Instagram, Girls of Impact TNT on Facebook and LinkedIn. And you can also send them an email at girlsofimpact.org. And this is if you are interested personally, you know someone, or you want to have your daughter or a young woman that's close to you involved in the program. So good morning, Dr. Young, and welcome. I think I'm having a bit of an issue hearing you. Is your mic on? So as I was saying, the program has to do with helping young women become girls of impact. It has to do with training, mentorship, and leadership to help guide young women who are between the ages of 18 to 30. And so this morning we are going to have that conversation with Dr. Young as it pertains to enrollment and what young women can expect from this 10-week program. As soon as we can get that audio up, we will be having that conversation. Now, I'm going to ask my producer to put that flyer on the screen again for you in case you are interested. So remember, you can go to info@girlsofimpact.org, send them an email right there. You can visit their Instagram and TikTok pages as well as their Facebook and LinkedIn. And as you can see on the flyer, the application process closes on the 15th of June. But I'm guessing we are chatting with Dr. Young, so there probably is an extension on that application. So you can still send in your inquiries there. And there is a link on the flyer where you can go to girlsofimpact.org/mentorship. All right. I hope that we have Dr. Young online with us. Now, Dr. Young, are you there? Okay, he seems to be having a bit of a connectivity issue, so we'll take a quick break right here and we'll be back right after this. See you soon.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Good morning and welcome back. Now we do have Dr. Colin Young, who's the Executive Director of Girls of Impact, joining us this morning. Welcome back, Dr. Young.
Good morning and thanks for having me.
Excellent. So as I introduced you earlier and the program, tell us why it's so important for young women in Trinidad and Tobago to become involved and engaged in projects like these. And there is a application closing date on your flyer that says June 15th. Is that still applicable?
Hi. The Caribbean Community Climate Change Center was set up by CARICOM heads of government in 2002 to coordinate the region's response to climate change. Climate change is one of an existing issue for many of our countries in the region, and women and girls are a group of persons who are especially vulnerable to the effects of climate change. And so the center has been working over the last 20 years in trying to build climate resilience across the Caribbean region, but particularly to ensure that the most vulnerable persons in our societies are in fact more resilient to the effects of climate change. And so from a 5C's point of view, we have in fact pursued a number of projects that seek to build the awareness and increase the participation of young women and girls to become more active in the climate change space, especially in terms of sitting at the table for decision making and helping to draft and craft policies to help build the resilience of our people across the region.
Excellent. And even as it pertains to the work that you are doing, as it pertains to, work at CARICOM and your response to climate change, women and girls are a vulnerable community, but what other communities have you been working with?
Well, as a CARICOM institution, we work with all CARICOM member states in the region, and so 15 countries in the region that we work with. But we also work with trying to ensure that all elderly people, persons with diverse abilities, as well as indigenous people, that they're also, being provided with information and data that can help them to become more resilient in the effects of climate change. I think many of us take for granted the fact that during an emergency like a hurricane or floods that require our people to move quickly from one location to another, perhaps to a hurricane shelter or to a shelter, that many of us can just get up and move and go quickly. But there are many in our societies that may not have the same luxury to move, and as a result, how do we work with these communities to ensure that they can be relocated safely? I think the 5Cs, as a CARICOM institution, obviously we work through the national governments, and the national governments have their own national emergency management plans. What we have been trying to do is to work with countries to help to build the resilience of the structures, the hurricane shelters in some of our countries, to ensure that in the event that there's a hurricane, that there is going to be energy. For example, in Belize, we have a hurricane shelter that was equipped with solar panels to ensure that if there's a loss of electricity, that shelter can in fact still have power. There's emergency communication equipment, and there would be water tanks that can provide the shelter with 3 days of water supply. We've done the same in Barbados, where we are building the resilience of hospitals to ensure that they also have water in the event that there is a hurricane disruptions. We've helped retrofitted schools in the Bahamas and St. Lucia, and the same for communities. So building resilience to the effects of climate change require several interventions, and we help our governments to try to do so. And when you prepare and build resilience for the most vulnerable in our society, then obviously you're building resilience for everybody at the same time.
Excellent. And there are persons who have not been exposed or understand what the 5 C's are as it pertains to the work that you have been doing in the Caribbean, which stands for Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. But, you know, for persons who were unaware of the type of work that you do and want to get involved with the work that you are doing, tell them a bit about how they can do that.
Thank you very much. The 35 Cs, as I said very briefly earlier, was established in 2002 by CARICOM heads of government with a mandate to coordinate the region's response to climate change. So even then, the heads of government recognized that climate change would become one of the most serious challenges of our generation, and they established a center to actually help the region coordinate in this regard. So we provide really 3 core services to our member states. The first one is that we work to ensure that the climate change data and information is being collected and analyzed so that our governments and persons can make evidence-based decision making. So, for example, we've been working with countries to install automatic weather stations across CARICOM member countries that collect real-time information that is provided to the Met offices to help them in their forecasts and in advising the public. Secondly, we help countries mobilize financing money for climate resilient actions on the ground. We have a program development and management department at the center staffed with capable persons who write projects on behalf of our countries, and we submit these projects to donor agencies and entities like the Green Climate Fund, the Adaptation Fund, as well as bilateral partners like the government of Canada, the government of Italy, and the government of the United Kingdom, for example, to raise resources to help our countries adapt to the effects of climate change. And that can be in various areas, whether it's in agriculture, whether it's in renewable energy, whether it's in the water sector, or any other area of municipal resilience, like ensuring that the drains are deep enough and wide enough to accommodate the larger amounts of rainfall that we're seeing from climate change. And then the third core service we provide to member states is in readying and helping to prepare the region to effectively participate in the annual Conference of Parties that is held. This is the International Climate Change Negotiations. And so the 5 Cs would then bring together CARICOM negotiators and climate change ministers from our member states twice a year to help to bring the region together to prioritize the set of actions that they would pursue at these international climate change negotiations. So climate change is impacting all of our countries because we're very vulnerable to the effects of climate change, but we're small. And as a result of that smallness, sometimes we don't have the number of persons to be able to participate in all of the negotiations and being in all of the rooms at the same time at these big, large global conferences. And so when you have a coordination where persons help to fill in the gap from a country, but that same person then provides support to all of the region, that is one of the key services that the 5Cs also provides to our member state.
Pertains to your responsibility overseeing a number of CARICOM nations as it pertains to climate change and climate change resilience and development. How does one narrow down what type of projects you are investing in? How do you say, okay, this is exactly what we are aiming towards achieving and these projects align with that?
That's a very good question. The 5Cs is actually a country-driven organization. We are established to serve our member states and our countries, and as a result, we pursue projects that are prioritized by the countries. So in the climate change space, many of our countries in the region have what we call nationally determined contributions, the NDCs. This is a document that outlines the number of actions that governments want to pursue to help to build the resilience of the country and its people to the effects of climate change. So there are projects on what we call the mitigation side. Those are projects that seek to reduce the dependence on fossil fuels and transition the economy to a more green, sustainable economy. And then there are projects on what we call the adaptation side. These are the projects that seek to improve the resilience of the countries to the effects of climate change. For example, I talked about drainage. I talk about ensuring that the agriculture industry, the water industry is more resilient to climate change. And so most of the times, our member countries approach the 5Cs and request assistance in helping them to develop these projects for submission to the various donors. We also have a group of project managers in the Program Development and Management Department that then helps the countries to manage these projects on behalf of the donor. We have teams of procurement persons, we have gender specialists, we have environmental and social safeguard specialists, and together we provide a project management support for our member states. Right. We've been relatively successful in this space, where since 2004, the 5Cs has mobilized over $250 million for climate action across the 15 CARICOM member states.
Okay. And can individual companies reach out to the 5Cs directly, or do they have to go through their government? And are you more likely to fund government-based projects opposed to private sector-based projects or NGO-based projects?
The 5Cs work with a variety of partners. However, we are an intergovernmental organization that works primarily through our member states. We have, through the work with the member states, however, supported civil society organizations and community-based groups. And I would encourage our listeners, if they want to hear more about the 5Cs, is to visit us at our website at www.caribbeanclimate.org. We are also on Instagram and Facebook, LinkedIn, and you'll be able to see how the 5Cs can engage with you. We also are very intent in working with schools and school children to ensure that both the awareness of climate change is understood are increased in the region. We have identified that there is a significant gap across CARICOM in terms of our populations understanding climate change, but more importantly, what are some of those things that they can do, in fact, to build their resilience. We also have, for example, developed what we call a 1.5 to Stay Alive educational curriculum that we have been rolling out and testing in Belize and intent on rolling out through CARICOM to ensure that our young people are very aware of climate change, but as I said, not only becoming aware, but knowing what is it that they can do to help improve the resilience of the effects of climate change.
Excellent. And even as we round up our discussion this morning, how important is it for persons to get engaged with those localization campaigns as it pertains to raising awareness for climate change locally?
It's extremely important. I think we live in a time that is unprecedented in our history. When we look at the effects of climate change. Last year, for example, was the warmest year on record. The last 10 years has been the hottest 10 years on record for recorded history. And so we are seeing an increasing frequency of climate-related disasters. We're seeing more storms, we're seeing stronger hurricanes, we're seeing more floods, we're seeing more droughts, we're seeing increased disease and pests. We're seeing all of these climate-related events happening at the same time. And before you could get a recovery from one major event, you're being hit by another. And so the capacity of our infrastructure and the capacity of our response is obviously being undermined because of climate-related disasters. Because of this, it is absolutely important that entities like the 5Cs continue to work with member governments and like-minded organizations and institutions to build the understanding and awareness of climate change and to provide persons with the tools that they would need to ensure that they can build their resilience to the effects of climate change. For example, in Barbados, we have a project where we would have installed over 1,500 personal water tanks in homes of those who are very vulnerable, to allow them to be able to harvest rainwater, that in the event that there is a hurricane or a storm that impacts the ability of the country to provide water to these households, that they now have their own personal water supply to cover the period until the water system can get back on track. So the same thing for farmers. Farmers who are dealing with droughts and unable to grow their crops or who have too much water that floods their fields. How can we work with them to ensure that they can either increase the drainage or they can provide irrigation using solar energy to provide water to their fields? So these are all ways in which if people were aware and they have access to the tools, or including, for example, seeds that are more tolerant to drought. These are ways that people can actually build their resilience to climate change. And as we've been seeing, the effects of climate change would continue to haunt us for years to come.
Excellent. And finally, even as it pertains to different type of projects, for example, housing projects that are focused around sustainable energy and sustainable water supply and water storage, are those the type of projects that governments as well as entities can come to the 5Cs to get funding for?
Yes, we have a diverse portfolio of projects that span those areas. So it's infrastructure, both in terms of municipal infrastructure, in terms of climate resilient housing, also the water sector. Believe it or not, the region has 8 of the top 30 most water scarce countries in the world. So water security is a big issue in our region. We also pursue renewable energy projects in the region, and we try to do projects that build resilience across a number of sectors at the same time. So we are particularly interested in projects that would say increase water security using renewable energy, but at the same time improving the food security of our countries by ensuring that farmers would have access to the tools and water to build resilience. I do want to take this very quick opportunity to also tell our viewers and listeners that this year, 2025, the 5Cs is actually celebrating its 20th anniversary as a CARICOM institution. we are marking this significant event with a 20th anniversary celebrations and award banquet that is being held on the 25th of June in Belize City, Belize. And we have several dignitaries, ministers. We have the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, who is joining us in Belize. He is the chair of the Quasi-Cabinet on Sustainable Development for CARICOM. And the celebration is being hosted jointly by the Prime Minister of Belize, the Honorable John Briceño. So we are hoping to tell the story of the 5 Cs and more importantly, the work that it has been doing over the 20 plus years, and how we will continue to work with our countries to positively impact the lives and livelihoods of the millions of people across our region.
Excellent. And Dr. Young, I just want to apologize for the mix-up that we had in the beginning as it pertains to the Girls of Impact program on our rundown this morning. But we want to say thank you so much for coming here and joining us on Tobago Updates and giving us that invitation as you are celebrating this year in 2025. We would definitely be sharing the word with everyone else, and it is interesting to note the type of funding that is available through the 5 Cs within the region and all the work that you have done and continue to do as it pertains to building climate resilience within the region. So we want to say thank you, and we look forward to speaking with you and your organization again very soon.
Thank you very much, and thanks for having me. It's a pleasure.
Excellent. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to return with much more conversation right after this. See you soon.
Quartz is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Quartz Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Quartz Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Hello, New York. Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's with 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. This morning we continue our conversation by speaking with Mr. Kun Kun. Good morning, how are you doing?
Good morning, I'm fine.
Excellent. And we know whenever we see you here, we're talking about farming and all that's happening with that, right? This morning we are talking about Bago birds and the mega farming project. Tell us a bit about that.
So Bago birds was formed basically some years back, right, through me farming, and that's just part in the poultry section. And when we started the program with TATCO, we see how far it could go and how wide it could go, and we decided to go and look for some funding to bring a mega farm to Tobago in the poultry sector, which we did last year, and we started the project. The project right now is on its way going. It's moving along slowly but surely.
How is this tied to the distribution of chicks that TATCO did within the last 2 years?
So what we did, right, with all the data that we was gathering from TATCO and all the numbers that was given to us and what they were trying to accomplish, we realized it didn't have certain infrastructure in place. Not that the birds that the system that TATCO came up with would have failed, it just didn't have the right infrastructure in place. And with me seeing that, I took that as an opportunity to put the systems in place, right? Meaning bringing better pens, better slaughtering facility, having a cold storage besides TATCO on the island that could hold a certain amount of cold storage for a farm, a mega farm.
Excellent. And when we talk about this mega farm initiative, what type of impact are we looking to have island-wide?
Well, impact. We trying to bring farmers up to date, right? All farmers, not just my farm alone, but all poultry farmers on the island. One we want to do is completely stop bringing chicks from Trinidad and hatching the chicks here in Tobago, right? We also bring in a system, and one of the modern systems that it have in the world right now in mining chickens to show farmers, look, we don't need to mine chicken in a traditional way anymore. If we want to get up in numbers, this is the way forward. With the way our climate change going right now, these are the systems all around the world using. And as I say, it is going to be very costly, but it is the way forward for the farming community.
Excellent. And even as it pertains to, your partnership with TATCO and the type of funding that is needed to get farmers more up to date, what are some of the gaps that you have been seeing as it pertains to visiting other farms in Tobago and looking at some of the outdated practices?
So let me just clear something. I do have a partnership right now with TATCO. Everything that I'm doing is financed personally with investors, okay? What we was doing with TATCO is that we was doing, when they were doing the chicks and they were doing...
so you use that as a foundation?
Yes, I use that as a foundation. Because I say there was a lot of data gathered and there was a lot of training in that capacity at that time where we went on farms and we saw, and every farm we go on, it was always traditional, right? And we needed to get out of that. And I decided this is the way forward to go. With farmers in Tobago, they want to go forward, but as I say, it is very costly. So what we have to do is find a way to work with collaboration with the THA to get farmers up there, because most farmers, the cry is money. That is basically it, is money. It all boils down back to dollar and cents.
Right. And even as you have, utilized this initiative from TATCO to grow your own organization, right, as it pertains to Tobago birds, how can you advise farmers to, make the same leap as it pertains to growing what you have and establishing something on a larger scale?
Farmers in Tobago already have a foundation, right? Farmers exist already. They are here. They just want that extra push. So when the THA or any identity come to the farmers, the farmers have to put themselves out there. Look, this is where I want to be this year, next year, and 10 years down the road. And that way farmers could get up to date. And
all this equipment that we're seeing, these are the equipment that your Tobago Birds company has invested in to increase production of eggs, chicks.
Yeah. So what you're seeing here is one of the slaughtering lines. It's 2 machines like this will be coming, right? What we want to do is, this will be the most modern one in Tobago, with all standards keeping up to date. So we want to slaughter all the birds on the island to keep the standard up with all the health practices and things. This is why we invest in so heavily. We also building a training facility on the compound, so other farmers will be coming in to train, and anybody else who wants to come and train with the facility.
Excellent. Have you reached out to the Division of Food Security to discuss what these type of partnerships can look like, and how, even though you are getting one of these, how can having 2 of these, double the impact that you are trying to achieve?
So I always like to prepare for the future. That's why we bring in 2, right? Because I believe there's a great need for this type of farming in Tobago, because there's nothing like it, and we depend on one boat. and God forbid that something happened to that boat or something happens to Trinidad and they decide to keep their meat for themselves, then Tobago will suffer. And you don't want to have a five-star hotel like Sandals coming here and products are being held back for some reason. Tobago must be able to stand on its own when it comes to agriculture. Back to talks with the Division of Agriculture. Yes, I've spoken to them. I must say, I've spoken to Ms. Pantin on a one-on-one. She came, she visited the farm, she gave her good thoughts about it. She loved the project and everything. Again, it boiled back down to money. I've not heard, they have gone silent on me for a few months now. I haven't heard from them nor seen them. I was already reaching out to them, talking to the Mega Farm Committee, anybody on the committee I could get to talk to.
What type of partnership are you looking for from the THA? I mean, you have made the initial step to have the conversation. You have done the work on your own by getting independent investors on board to get, this type of high-tech equipment on the island to increase your production. What type of partnership are you looking for?
I think if the THA could come and help financially with all the training facilities that we have, we could work back out something with the THA.
What does a financial contribution look like? Is it for the workers, sending agricultural workers to the farm? What would that look like?
Finance to help finish the project.
Okay.
Because right now, to date, we have spent about $6 million already from pocket. $6 million. And we're still spending. The land was given to us was a mountain. We literally had to cut the mountain in half to get the space.
And that's already half of your budget.
Yeah. And then the equipment was that. So we want to build facilities, first-at-the-art facilities. I don't want to build nothing and nobody to tell me we're building something and we build something next year. No, I want to build it out one time. I want to be able to have something to say, yes, we could send people here to train, and when people come to visit the island, they have something to see. So if the THA come together and work with us, we could build this, we could do it, and everybody in Tobago could benefit. Farmers from here, farmers from Trinidad, farmers from up the Caribbean, it doesn't matter where, because the THA could reach out to anybody and we could host. We see.
Do you know that the Division of Food Security has, I believe it's the Tobago Agricultural Research Institute, that is now, I believe, at Kendall, where Kendall Farm School was there. Do you see an integration of what is happening there with what you are offering?
Of course, because one of the facilities that we want to build on the farm is a state-of-the-art vet lab. I have a passion for agriculture. It doesn't stop at poultry, right? I love to mix science with agriculture. It's the way forward. I've seen Jamaica grown, large scale on the livestock program. I want to do AI, I want to do embryo transplants. But I know for these things to work, you had to have somebody managing it properly. This is why I want to be the manager of these things, to see it through till the end, so that the end product could end up to the farmer.
How long has Bagel Bird been registered?
Bagel Bird has been registered over 2 years now. Yeah.
Are you aware that the THA has a venture capital fund?
So we working with venture capital for the last couple of months. Yes, have to go through a fine teeth comb with venture capital to get it right. I can't say that they're not working with us. We're working with us, but it's not happening fast enough for me.
Okay.
Right now, I have over $2 million in equipment at Belmont Farm Room sitting on a mountainside for the last 6 months. And as I say, every time you get a breakdown of some money, it goes back into excavation work, like the excavation work wouldn't finish. And you keep cutting the mountain, and now the rain is down. I had to bring in 3-4 different type of equipment to get, because the foundation need to finish, right? To take these equipments off the ground now.
Division of Works, is that an option to assist?
Yes, I did write to Mr. Trevor James. He did a visit last 2 weeks. He promised me an excavator for 2 weeks. It's still a help, but it's not the amount of help I need. I need a lot of help.
Right. And even as the bureaucracy within the THA prohibits the fast movement that you require for the successful completion of this project, I know you already have private sector investors involved, but are you open to other persons that are willing to invest in the project? And if so, how can persons reach out to you to become a part of the initiative?
So if we have to go that way, a decision will have to be made by the board if we want to go that way. Anybody could reach out if they want to help, and we could have a discussion. We're always open for discussion and new investment, because we want to do 30 domes like this by 2030. We just need to get the first 2 running, and I could do the rest. I'm sure that I could do the rest. And the 30 domes is not for me, it's for other farmers. It's to invest into farmers, go below the domes and just help them manage their farms. And the farmers will be making a lot of money from one of these domes.
Excellent. Well, we want to firstly say congratulations to you for the level of initiative that you have taken to not just speak of agricultural development and innovation, but to take the steps necessary to bring a higher level and quality of agricultural production as it pertains to poultry farming on the island. We here at Tobago Updates wish you nothing but the best, and our platform is open to you to assist as it pertains to your fundraising initiatives, if that is something that you want to do.
Yes, definitely.
Moving forward. All right. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time here this morning, and I am quite impressed. I am extremely impressed with the vision that you have, and it would be amazing to see it manifested into reality.
I think I know that it will come into light just now. I hope that the Chief Secretary, I've listened to his New Year's resolution speech about mega farming. I hope that he could come and see the farm for himself. I've been trying to reach
it's almost like you're doing the job for them, right? Because everything that they say that they want to do, you are doing it with this project.
I don't want to work against the THA. I want to work with the THA. Tobago deserve this. Tobago farmers have been crying for years. Right now, Trinidad practically last week was underwater, and Tobago is going to suffer. Tobagonians is going to suffer. The reason why I say that, market prices are going to be very high, and we in Tobago shouldn't be suffering for that. We in Tobago should be enjoying the fruits of the farmers here. But farmers, as I say, if the budget that's coming up, I see a good budget for the agriculture division, I want that money to go to farmers. I don't want it to go to a promotion to some World Food Day show. We ain't have nothing yet for show. Let we develop the farmers. Send the money directly to the farmers. Come up with some kind of plan in your division to help farmers directly. Send money to them. That's what they need. They need money. They need money, and once they get money, they're going to work. You're going to see them working.
Excellent. Well, again, Mr. Kunkun, thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you very much.
And all the best with your Tobago Birds Mega Farm project. Guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussion. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have done and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and I want to say thank you to all my guests that have been a part of this morning's discussion, and thank you to you for staying tuned.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new day.